You guys, Disengaged is officially on the road. We've gone abroad. We have left the United States of America and we have landed in none other than beautiful Belgium. I was showing my sister that this studio backdrop that we have. Is this not White Lotus? Like, this is so White Lotus coded. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. But how cozy, how cute. To be honest, a few days ago, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. Now I know exactly what I'm going to be talking about because it's all become abundantly clear. I just want to start off though by saying, have you guys seen the latest Call Her Daddy episode? I'll read it to you. It's called I Called Off My Engagement, featuring Lauren. I'm telling you, this stuff is it's going out there. It's getting viral. Anyway, Alex Cooper, if you're listening, I'm sure you were inspired by Disengaged, and you're welcome. If you ever want to be on this show, you're also very welcome. Same with you, Lauren, who called off your engagement. I hear you. I see you. It's hard stuff, but I'm really glad that you're talking about it. And only 5 months ago, the woman who's interviewed one of Alex Cooper's friends, Lauren, only called off her engagement 5 months ago, and she's talking about it. I'm like, wow, it took me 5 years to kind of get to a place where I felt like I could be a little bit more open and honest and even just process it with some hindsight. So super cool. Listen to it if you haven't. It's a great addition to this podcast and this episode, which, like, I mean, it's cool. I'm in Europe. It's fun. I'm here for work. I actually just had my first day of work today, and it's great. It's fun. It's very like sexy, to be like, oh, I'm in Belgium. But like anything, there is like the reality to it. And then there's like the you're all alone and you're sitting with your thoughts and what are they screaming? How intrusive are they? What's going on in your brain? And in my brain, there has been a lot of panicking and fear. And I have had like PTSD, honestly. And no, I did not serve in the Vietnam War. I've never been, you know, actively shot at. I've been around gunfire, but that's not related. But like, I have not served in war, okay? But you can still have trauma, and that trauma can come up in different ways when you your body thinks that it's going to need to warn you about something. And my body has been screaming at me all week, and it's like, you're gonna be alone forever when you go to Belgium. It's just gonna be you, and good luck out there, kid, because it's all fun and it looks really glamorous and whatever, but the reality of the situation is it's hard to go out there and do something on your own. And I have had these thoughts and this like panic response as if two things are true. It's like I am moving to Doha for the first time in 2014. I'm having those same like panics of like, I have this whole future ahead of me in a new city and it's overwhelming and it's kind of scary. I'm only here for a few months. So I'm having to remind myself, no, I have not completely relocated. Like, you're going to be okay. You're going to see Josie and Jefferson again, and you're going to be safe. But my body's like telling me, you should be very panicked right now because you're on your own and it's about to get difficult. And so I've had to tell myself, no, that is not the case, and remind myself what the reality is now. Because, of course, when your body goes into that panic mode, it's trying to warn you about something. And the other really weird thing that has come flooding back this week, which I did not see coming, and again, the nature of trauma, is the buildup to ending my engagement. I was very much aware of the fact that I was about to be alone and having to rely on friends and family and myself and not a partner. And I have been hit across the head with that this week. Like, you're going to be forever alone. And that panic that I felt when I was ending the engagement, that like, this is it. This is like a big deal. And like, Lauren and Call Her Daddy talks about this, and it's so true, is like, I told my therapist, like, I feel she told her therapist a similar thing. Like, you feel like you're about to like completely like blow up your life and explode it and throw it away. And it's like, yeah, you are. As you know it, your life is going to change, but you get to take the new you with you. And I have been reminded of that, the trauma part of like, you're about to be like on your own in another city, working with colleagues you haven't met yet, and doing projects that you're not familiar with yet. And You're going to be on your own. And I'm like, no, this is not that. I'm having to remind myself, yes, that was a hard thing when I ended my engagement and was facing solo time, like extreme solo time, especially given that it was January 2020. I would not recommend anyone do that. But I also wouldn't recommend anyone stay with a partner during a pandemic that you don't see yourself with. I digress. But yeah, isn't it funny how our bodies literally, I do something bold and crazy and fun and something that I'm really excited about, like move to Brussels for a little while. And my body tells me it's like a warning. And the warning is that I'm about to be alone and it links it to me calling off my engagement. Like that is wild. I was meeting with my therapist a few weeks ago and I was telling her how I was like feeling so emotional and how I was like having all of these like thoughts about different people in my past and whatnot. And she's like, the timing is so weird. And I'm like, yeah, it is weird, but I think it's because it's been a certain amount of time since this last toxic relationship or since I moved to Qatar. It's been 11 years. And I'm like, the timing is very interesting. Your body remembers. I've recommended the book when How the Body Keeps the Score. I've never actually read it. I need to. But the point of it all is that, like, your body remembers when you've had a really hard time and it's trying to warn you to not do it. But I think it's really important to not let fear guide you like that. Bethany Hamilton, you know, the girl who got her arm bitten off by a shark, she just posted today. I know she's a bit controversial now. She's picked a lot of different political sides, but her message was she didn't think that she could do a lot of things after she got her arm bitten off by a shark because she was petrified of A, getting back in the water and surfing and doing the thing. And she's like, imagine if I hadn't gotten back in the water. No one would know who she is and her life would not have changed for the positive. It changed for the negative with the shark bite, but then she didn't allow that to stay negative. She turned it into a positive because fear makes you want to stay in the negative because more change feels too scary. And I started panicking and didn't really actually want to come to Belgium at closer to because I was like, this just feels very overwhelming and kind of scary. But I am very glad already that I've pushed through that because the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, has a really cool way of coming around and like gifting you a little Hershey kiss, little je ne sais quoi thing of like, I've got you. You're not alone and you don't have to be afraid. And I think that is so incredible. And I had no clue what it was going to look like for me. I was putting faith in the system, the heavenly universe system, that this decision to come over here was going to make sense. But I was like, I'm afraid to be alone because that felt like I was having to go through all of that trauma post engagement breakup. And I'm like, Leah, that's not you anymore. That's not where we are right now. This is a new thing. This is a happy thing. You've done healing. You have grown. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were 11 years ago when you first went to Doha. Two very big decisions. And this decision really pales in comparison, quite honestly, to come here, but it still brought up those feelings. And so I've had to like gut check it, but I'm also like, I know from experience that when something seems super scary and you don't want to do it, if you do it, you will get a reward. Like you will get a pat on the back or some type of an affirmation of like you're in the right spot. And you never know what it's going to look like. But I promise you, it happens. If you step out and trust that gut that you're supposed to be doing something. And it's really cool, whatever that confirmation comes back looking like. And it's something you would never, ever have guessed. For me, I kid you not, you guys, rewind. I was in the Amazon rainforest like 2 years ago and ran into this really sweet family. They have a little baby. He was like 1 year, old at the time. And his name's Bobby. And he was just the cutest little boy. We ended up, my family was on a canoe tour of the Amazon River in Manaus in Brazil, literally in the Amazon River. Like, I'm not even making this up. This sounds so fake, but it's not. I have videos. And yeah, so we get to this canoe and this other family just shows up with this little kid and we're all thinking like, great, this is like not going to be fun because this kid's going to ruin our tour. And they turned out to be the sweetest family. And Bobby was like the cutest thing. He was like our little spirit animal by the end of it. And his dad, Joey, and mom, Melissa, were just the sweetest. And we've stayed in touch on Instagram over the last few years, mainly obviously to watch Bobby grow because he's the cutest little nugget. And I was at JFK about to fly over, and I'm just like doom scrolling on Instagram, and I see that Joey posts that he's in Bruges, Belgium, which is just like an hour or so away from me. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Brussels tomorrow. Like, if you guys are going to be around, I'd love to see you. He's like, we're going to be there tomorrow too. That's the day that we arrive. I come in, immediately have something to look forward to. There is a little nugget, that little Hershey kiss that we look for when we make bold and brave decisions. Like, what are the odds this random family that I met on the Amazon River is in Brussels the same day as me? And we got to have dinner together. We had mussels in Brussels, and it was so beautiful and magical. A family that I've only ever met once. We did spend the night together in this like camp, which was probably what bound us together for life or bonded us for life because it was an interesting situation. But like the fact that I had friends from the Amazon in Brussels the day that I arrived was just this like nod from God. And it was like, you're okay. Okay. See, I got you. I know I give the church a lot of poo poo. I'm not giving God the poo poo. I think the church has a problem with how they view God. And I think my relationship with God is actually strengthened outside of the church setting that I grew up in. And doing things like this and seeing God or the universe or affirmation in these different ways is like really cool of like, no, you're in the right spot and you're going to be okay. So cool, right? Like I just think that's amazing. I was really moved again to tears because I've just been a basket case and crying a lot the last few weeks with graduation, with saying goodbye to Josie and Jefferson for the summer and moving out of my apartment, trusting people to keep Josie and Jefferson, just saying goodbye to really sweet friends, moving out of Syracuse. Like I'm done in Syracuse. Like I'm done. Like that's crazy. And like, I mean, I was watching Moana and started crying. Moana 2, by the way, slaps. It's so good. It's so good. I know I am like emotional in this like stage in life, and I've just been so weepy, but like, oh my gosh, Moana 2 is so good. Like, definitely watch it. I knew that I needed to do this and take this job that I knew very little about, even though it was going to be difficult and it was going to be out on my own. But I knew deep down that I am not alone. Just because I might feel lonely or because I'm doing something physically alone does not mean that I am alone. And I think for women, especially, we feel like we have to have someone with us, like we're somehow not safe out in the world, or like we need permission to go and explore or to invest in ourselves professionally or educationally. And what that often looks like, for me, at least I can speak for myself, is doing something solo. And in that stepping out into the wilderness, you kind of find this pie slice of people and you're in this same slice with them and you're like, oh, me too. Like, I'm here too. You're doing this? Oh, that's so cool. Like today, my first day of work, I met this guy and he came to Brussels like 8 or so years ago. And he's like, yeah, I came, did something similar to you, and I stayed and I really liked it. And he has this whole friend group here now. Like, yeah, you find people like that when you do things that your gut is telling you to do. You find like-minded people when you follow your heart and your gut. But it's scary. No one tells you it's horrifically petrifying and very, very scary and not sexy and not like fun, really. It's really not that fun at first. Like it's adventure, but think of the people that like had to go and like map out like parts of the Amazon and like try to figure out who's who and drop like paint buckets and then go and try to find them, which tribe had what color paint. Okay, that was at this coordinate. And you think that was fun? You think it was fun traversing like rainforest to try to like put a map together? No, it's adventure and we're drawn to adventure. I think in our souls we all are. But I think most of us don't do it because we're afraid. And there's a lot of opportunities that I've passed up because I was like, I'm honestly too afraid for that. I try not to do that, but it does get the better of me sometimes. But when I actually go out and do the thing, you guys, I am not doing it with a whole lot of joy. Okay. I'm doing it with some apprehension and I'm nervous. But when like I post about it, like, oh, I'm in Brussels, like, people just think, wow, so cool. That's so fun. Love it. Enjoy the chocolate or whatever. It's like, yeah. But then you get to your apartment and it's just you. And you have like 8 hours left in your day because it's a weekend and it's just you. And then you start to panic. And for me, I start to think about all the times when I was alone and it hurt. And that makes me not want to be alone at all. And it makes me want to cancel the adventure. But reminding myself that no, that's not where I am anymore has been huge. And my therapist has been pivotal in helping me realize that we can talk to ourselves. I can talk to me, the one who was going to end my engagement 5-ish years ago. And I can say, I can be a kind friend to her and say, you're going to be okay. Hang in there. You're making the right decision. Yes, this is going to be painful, but you will get through it. And then now, on the other side of that getting through it, when I have flashbacks, PTSD, that I am going to have to go through all of that healing again, I remind myself of all these years of healing and all of this work that I've put in with therapists, with myself, with my community, with my friends and family. And I'm like, no, I have done that healing. I don't have to go back to square one because the really beautiful thing with healing in stepping out into the world and into the unknown, into the wilderness, is that you get to bring all of those different versions with you. It's kind of like you sweep up all of your past selves and you bring them and you are you now, but you're also every single iteration that has ever been before. Isn't that beautiful though? Like you get to talk to all of these past versions of yourself to reassure each of them that they're not alone because you have made it to where you are. And you can tell them that, them being your past selves. And that is where a lot of the healing and neurological transformationing comes from for me. And I have found that practice very, very helpful talking to my past self. So, like, what does it look like? Okay, literally, I'll be like, okay, I'm panicking in the night. So, just like 2 nights ago, I was crying, just laying in bed here in Brussels, crying. Because I like missed my friends and family. And I'm like, there's like months ahead of me that I'm like looking up the hill to, and I'm like, I have to climb up that hill, like Kate Bush style, like I'm going up the hill, and there's no other way to do it, and it's like petrifying. And so I was just like silently, like just like tears streaming down the face, no ugly crying or anything, just like kind of shock and awe, like, wow, here I am. I've done the thing. And I started to like panic a little bit, like, oh no, what if I don't see Josie anymore? What if she dies or something happens to her while I'm away? And what if I'm not going to see my friends anymore? I've left Syracuse. That's been such a sweet place of healing for me. I've really loved living in upstate. I'm never going to get to do that again. And my mind just spiral, tornadoing into this pit and depth of despair. And I catch it, so I'm laying there, tears, tornado, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you actually afraid of right now?" And what came to my mind when I asked myself that question was, I have to put in so much work to be whole and feel whole again. and I'm not going to have those friends anymore because they are going to pick someone else. They're going to pick sides because that does happen when any type of a friendship or relationship ends, sides are picked. And I was like, okay, hey, I hear you. That was scary. That was traumatizing, but that's not now. That is a valid fear, but that fear has been misplaced onto right now. Those people, those friends, my pets, they're all still there. And I'm okay. I'm not losing anything by gaining this new experience. I'm not losing my people. I have to reassign that fear back onto the shelf that it belongs and not let it like spill out. Like that fear of being alone is like a cracked mason jar filled with goo. If you do not take care of the cracked mason jar, if you don't put it in a new jar, it will ooze out over all of your mental shelves and everything will feel like a fear of being alone. And so taking that mental inventory the other night when it was just me laying there, it was like, no, what I'm feeling now is a sense, yes, there's some aloneness, but this is also exploration. This is me being brave. It's scary being brave, but this is not you making this huge decision where you're now having to start over again. That isn't this. And so I slowly, slowly through my mind start wiping away that ooze on each of these different mental shelves. And I am able to identify where the ooze is coming from in my mind. And I pinpoint it and I'm like, ah, there's a crack in that jar. And it's infiltrating all of these other thoughts. And that allows me to know the origin of the fear and the panic that I'm feeling. And then and only then can I address it. It's kind of like magic. If you can identify where that oozy jar is and what it's holding and where it came from and how long it's been on your shelf, it helps you majorly in handling like the current moment. Even like last week, there was like a little argument that I got in with a family member, and I was just listening and I was like, this is not going the way that I want. Like, and I wanted to get really, really angry. And I thought, why am I angry? What am I afraid of? What's wrong now? And my mind told me that you don't have control and you're just a teenager and you don't get to make your own decisions. And so you feel trapped, and that feeling trappedness makes you feel angry. And I was like, okay, well, that's simply not true. I'm not a teenager anymore. I do make my own decisions. I have a car. I could leave this very moment, and no one could tell me otherwise. And I have to remind myself, okay, I'm getting angry in this moment because I have, there's oozy jar junk on my shelf that I'm experiencing right now. And I can easily mistake it for right now. But when I go and identify, okay, that's actually a jar from when I was 15, and that oozy jar is about feeling pent up and like go back to your room, Leah, or you're grounded. It's like, no, I can actually go back and I can parent that part the way that I would have liked to receive it in that time. And it sets you free. I'm not even kidding. It sets you free. So these extreme emotions that we feel that I've been feeling in the last week, finding the origin of them has been so helpful. And I still am just so shocked at how much ending an engagement has impacted my life. I had no clue. I thought, yes, it was going to be difficult, but I didn't realize that it would come up in so many different ways down the road. But I'm really thankful for therapy and being able to identify when that happens to kind of nail it on the head, identify it, call it what it is, and put it back on the shelf where it belongs, and then taking my current situation and identifying it for what it is. Because if I can own and know what I am currently feeling now, it will help me in the future when I have another time that I am afraid and my brain is saying, bear, there's a bear, there's a bear. And it's like, no, what there is there's like loud noises or something. And, that's how PTSD is for troops a lot of the time. They'll hear fireworks. That's why, 4th of July and New Year's can be so triggering for people, is because they think that it is gunfire and then they go right back to the battlefield and it's like they're being shot at and they have that same physiological response. Your body does that in so many other ways. And it's not about comparing trauma, like, okay, I wasn't shot at, so it's not as big of a deal. It is still a big deal. And it's something that you should still take seriously. I try to take it seriously and not compare it to other people, and to take it seriously and like love myself basically through that, because fear is the absence of love. And when I'm panicking, when I have that anxiety and that depression come rolling in, I can breathe. Usually I'm not breathing, and my brain's just starved for oxygen in that moment. And I can re-pinpoint what I'm actually feeling in that moment. And it's just so cool because then you get to rewrite your story and you don't have to continually live in this washing machine of trauma from pasts and yesteryears. It's something to learn from. I'm very grateful that I ended my engagement, and I'm thankful for how much I've learned about myself since, and for the really healthy relationships I've been able to have since then, where I'm able to be more truly myself. And the great part about healing is you don't have to go back. You honestly don't go back, because my therapist was like, once you identify what that is, what that cage was for you, you're not going to go back in it, you know? Like, you're going to move onwards and upwards and continue to grow. That's the goal. Anyway, non-therapist Leah here, giving you some of my thoughts, but I hope this is helpful. It's been a helpful thing just talking out loud with you. And at the end of the day, you've got to find your Bobby, the little kid within you that's just out there exploring the world. He's been to 10 countries now. Can you believe it? He's like 3 years old now. The cutest little muffin. So, Joey, Mel, if you're listening, you've got the best kid, and you guys are awesome parents. And the mussels were pretty tragic. Mussels in Brussels, honestly, it sounds cool. It was not delicious. I was like missing MSG. I think that's what it was missing, or salt, or just flavor. But yeah, when I'm panicking and I think of this time, the joy, the silver lining of, no, you're going to be okay, you made the right decision, I think of that Bobby moment and I'm like, how cool. I would not have been able to have that joy and such love and happiness if I hadn't done something scary. Do the thing that scares you first. The joy will come. So this is the first of many on the road Disengaged episodes this summer. I hope you stay tuned for them. And please like and share this if you can. If you're listening on Spotify, if you can rate it, that also really helps. Also, we have a brand new Disengaged podcast website. It's called disengagedpodcast.com. If you have any questions or comments, or you're like, what did you just say? That was an analogy central. Well, drop us a comment. It's on the contact tab, which is now live and operating. So get engaged with me, with us online. Thanks, guys. Love ya. This podcast is produced by the Anthology Group.